Hello and welcome to our presentation on Walt Disney, presented by Brian Clare, Rebecca Craig, Jeff Blow, and Christina Orndorff. Today we'll do a brief recap of Disney's current positioning, as well as make suggestions for Disney's leadership and how they can continue to be successful in their markets. Disney Studios began in the 1920s, and since then they have grown into movie making, amusement parks, entertainment, resort cruises, and have tried to expand into interactive media. Their main focus is providing customers with family-friendly entertainment. This graph represents the various industries that Disney is involved with and the percentage of revenues that they're producing for the company. As you can see, the largest percentage is in media networks, followed by destination parks and resorts, and the smallest percentage is currently interactive media with 3%. Although in the last slide, media networks represented 45%, you can see that they have a much slower growth rate at only 5%. Whereas interactive media, representing 3% of their revenues, is growing at 26%. So where is growth in the world? As you can see, the top 10 countries are listed for GDP growth, United States being first, followed by China, India, Japan, Germany, Russia, Brazil, and in smaller margins, the United Kingdom, France, and Italy. The market is telling Disney that technology holds the key to growth in all of their service lines. Mickey Mouse and Cinderella have been around for generations now, and they continue to generate returns in all areas of Disney's industries, including cruise ships, gaming, theme parks. And as if you recall on the last slide, China was ranked number 2 with GDP growth, India was 3, and Brazil was number 7. So how do we take advantage of this to increase our shareholders' value? This brings us to Disney's biggest weakness. After our initial analysis, we believe Disney's biggest weakness is in interactive media. They have begun to integrate some of these technologies into their traditional business lines, but because of minimal capital investment needed, they are dealing with a lot of competition. Our first recommendation is to use Disney's intellectual property to expand their interactive media division. But how do we do this? Should we create it internally or buy? We recommend buying. Many tech companies have grown organically. However, Disney could really capitalize on ideas and talent if they would purchase the talented tech companies that are currently operating. The introduction of Infinity has put Disney on the map in interactive video gaming. Continued investment will need to be made, as well as product improvements throughout its lifetime. However, the number of characters and multitude of special effects should give Disney a large advantage over their competitors.
Lastly, Disney Infinity. This is the latest gaming system. Again, Disney a little bit late to the party. But this Anthony Tioramina summarizes it beautifully. Disney Infinity is a beautiful experiment in the power of brand marketing. It takes the loose framework of Activision's Skylanders franchise and uses a large swath of the Disney Pixar library to bolster it. So instead of a family-friendly platforming with original creatures like Chop Chop or Drobot, players will be using more recognizable faces like Mr. Incredible or Captain Jack Sparrow. So with this background in strategic fit, we'll turn this over to the financial section.
From 2012 to 2013, the interactive business unit saw an increase in revenue of 26%, while expenses only grew by 8.5%. Using these growth rates, you can see the following projections for the interactive business unit. Notice the loss in 2013, but with revenue growing faster than expenses, there is a big turnaround in business income. In fact, in 2013, the operating margin was negative 0.82%. In 2014, it is projected to be 6.8%. In 2015, it is projected to be 19.7%, 30.8% in 2016, 40.4% in 2017, and 48.7% in 2018. Our second recommendation is to complete the successful opening of Disney Shanghai in China and look for other countries where Disney would make a successful presence. Once in China, it might take some time for the Disney culture to expand, but other regions nearby, such as India, is another possible happiest place on earth. Expanding to these heavily populated areas will definitely increase shareholder value.
Looking at parks and resorts, this is an example of strategic fit at work in China. There is a lot of buzz right now about the Disney Shanghai Park opening in 2015. Not so much knowledge of Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and Cinderella in China, though. So that does present some problems for Disney. And how are they going to get their brand out there when their brand is not very familiar? They will be trying a lot of different strategies, but one, of course, is the familiar and iconic Cinderella Castle. This resort is going to be approximately the same size as the California resort. They will be pushing the look of the resort, and the retail side of the resort will really be a jumping off point for getting people familiar with Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and Donald Duck. How does strategic fit inform Disney's Shanghai Plan? First, there are risks. Disney still has a long way to go before Mickey's famous ears are recognizable by every child and parent in China, as they are in the United States. Disney CEO Robert Iger addressed the issue during the company's fourth quarter call just last week. He cited the synergies of the Disney empire in addressing these risks. First of all, how to leverage media in China? It's a different ball game. They're going to be relying more on mobile and online platforms than TV due to national restrictions. The company is planning to increase marketing once park attractions are open based on cultural or media interests, because Chinese culture is going to be wedded to Mickey, so they'll have to wait and make sure that the proper balance exists between the Chinese culture and the new Mickey. Retail. This is really going to help Disney build a buzz before the 2015 opening. Their first big store in China is going to be in Shanghai, and it's going to serve as a sort of quasi-visitor center to let people know more about the park itself. Once the park opens, they actually believe they'll have a significant halo effect on the brand. In other words, visiting the theme park will lead to more sales at the retail stores, just like happens now here in the United States, in Paris, in Hong Kong, and Tokyo. Disney's cruise line is probably a further out opportunity. Mr. Igor says that once Asia opens up to the family cruise business, of course, there's a lot of potential cruisers in China.
Now we'll take a look at the resorts business plan. From 2012 to 2013, the Parks and Resorts business unit saw an increase in revenue of 9%, while expenses only grew by 7.7%. Using these growth rates, you can see the following projections for the resorts business unit. This pro forma also shows the addition of 2 new resorts. In 2015, the additional resort in China, and in 2017, a resort opening in India. For the year that a resort opens, the revenue is only expected to be 75% of existing resorts' revenue, and expenses are projected to be equal to the other resorts' expenses due to startup inefficiencies. The year following the opening of the new resort resumes 100% of the projected revenue as well as expenses. You can notice how this impacts the increase in operating income the year a resort opens. As you can see, with the addition of the 2 resorts, operating income almost triples from 2013 to 2018, and the operating margin grows from 15.8% in 2013 to 20.8% in 2018. The following shows Disney companies as a whole taking into account media networks, parks and resorts, studio entertainment, consumer products, and interactive media, as well as considering our recommendations. From 2013 to 2018, operating income increases a total of 7%, while the operating margin grows from 23.8% in 2013 to 25.7% in 2018.
As discussed, Disney is in the mature phase in much of the Western world. Its characters are household names, and the U.S. theme parks are flooded with North American and European tourists year-round. Growth for Disney, therefore, likely lies in the emerging economies like Brazil, Russia, India, and China. The Chinese resort experiment will be a great test of Disney's ability to push into these markets. There are some distinct strengths Disney has in an international expansion. The marketing machine that is Disney is a considerable strength. Disney can market its characters and products like no other company in the world. It is a master at creating content and licensing. There are weaknesses, however. Brand recognition for Disney and its properties are weak in some of these emerging economies. Opportunities for Disney in an international expansion would be a successful launch of the Shanghai joint venture resort. That resort could serve as a template for moving into other emerging markets around the world. Threats to an international expansion are the cultural norms and customs. Disney needs to be sensitive to the cultural norms and make sure that the themes and content of its media offerings don't offend. The second alternative focused on the near term. In the near term, every effort must be made to grow and improve the interactive media division. Some strengths of expanding the interactive media division are the war chest that Disney has for acquisition. Disney's cash reserves will serve them well to purchase intellectual property, other game developers, and patents to grow the interactive media division through acquisition. Weaknesses of growing the interactive media division. Disney's been slow out of the gate, as evidenced by its poor financial performance in the division over the last 4 years. There are opportunities, however. Again, acquisitions will be a big part of the opportunity, but also Disney has the wealth of characters to incorporate and design their interactive media applications around. A huge threat for the interactive media division, however, is the low cost of entry for interactive media. Every kid who can design an app can design a successful one, and it will compete head-to-head with the major superpower that is Disney. Disney needs to be aware of that and keep its eye on the market for companies and applications to acquire.